Hello and welcome to Senior Speak New Hampshire on your Concord TV, sponsored by AARP. I am Karen Ulmer-Dorsch. I am a volunteer for AARP, and I also produce the sessions of Senior Speak New Hampshire, and I'm the host. And I welcome you, and I'm excited to have you here today. March is a month of unpredictability, and so this is a little bit different program, but it's one that is extremely dear to my heart, and something that I think you all are familiar with little bits and pieces of, but today's topic is going to be Concord TV, your community media center. I think many of you are probably familiar with some programs that are on television or that you watch and hear, but I don't know that you know the full gamut of this hidden gem you have in your community that does so much to build the community of Greater Concord area. I first discovered this community 5 years ago when I agreed to sponsor this, or to be the host of this program. And I'm continually blown away by what I learn that this program does to build your community. So without further ado, I want to introduce you. Some of you know Josh Hardy very well. He's the executive director of Concord TV, and he is here today to give you the full spectrum of what this hidden gem gives to this community. So Josh, take it away.
All right, thank you, Karen. And just before we get started, Senior Speak New Hampshire has been on Concord TV programming for quite a few years. You've been host for the last 5 years, and you bring such a level of professionalism and grace, and with introductions like you just did. I'm very humbled for that, by the way. But prior to you, Bob Dens and Bob Williams were previous hosts. This show has to have been going for probably almost 20 years now, I would say.
Yes, 25,
yeah.
I think.
And basically back to the founding of Concord TV, which around 1998, 1999. But I just wanted to say that Senior Speak New Hampshire has been right there along the way, because it's serving such an important purpose on a monthly basis. You just had a show about tourism opportunities and for active seniors to even get outside of Concord and to explore their world. I think that was really cool.
Right.
Signs of Alzheimer's. I mean, the topics that you've covered are so important and things that our community needs to hear about.
They really are, but the importance of today's program is, people, this is for all ages. This community media center serves all ages, and that's what I want you to be aware of.
Yes, it's we like to say it's a multi-generational facility. We earlier today we're working with a group of high school age students on video editing, but we have people upwards in their 80s and 90s and who come in and volunteer or host their own programs. So we truly are multi-generational. Our own staff actually represent 4 different generations that all work together and have our own styles and work together. But you're absolutely right, Karen. It's for all ages. And a little bit about Concord TV. We are a nonprofit organization. There is sort of people sometimes mistaken us that they think we're part of the Concord School District or part of the city of Concord because we are closely associated.
Right.
But we are a 501c3 registered nonprofit since 1998. And the slide that we have pulled up here shows it's this studio, but many years ago. I think that's Arnie Alper and a couple other, Rosemary Lanier in the background, that really, Concord TV was founded because you had members of the community. They had this, I forget what the acronym stands for, but it was called CACTUS. It was an acronym for community. But their purpose, these people got together and said, we want to have community television in Concord, New Hampshire. And really, each town in New Hampshire, you have different communities that have gone through those same situations. That it took a group of community members with partners from the city, with partners from the school district, who came together and said, how can we get this done? How can we make this happen? What's the structure? So I'll explain to you a little more about the structure, but that's sort of the basis of it, that we're a nonprofit public access station And we have these 3 branches. We have the public access portion, like Senior Speak New Hampshire, but we also provide education access services for Concord School District, as well as government access programming for the city of Concord.
So is that how you have the different channels?
That's right, exactly, yep. We're considered a PEG Center, acronym standing for Public Education Government. So we currently have Public Access Channel 22, Education Channel 6, and Government Channel 17. That's for Comcast cable customers. But of course, everything we do, I have to pitch the website. If you go to yourconcordtv.org, even if you don't live in Concord, or if you don't have Comcast cable, or if you're out of town for a week but you still want to keep in the loop on meetings or anything like that, yourconcordtv.org, we stream the channels 24/7. So when we give you, Karen, for instance, the air times for your Senior Speak New Hampshire program, when it airs on channel 22, you can also watch it streaming on Concord TV's website at that same time. So if we say your show airs at 4 p.m. on this night, you can go to the website and watch the live stream. So, so we've made it. Obviously, I'll talk about in a little bit, the cable TV portion is very important. That's part of our founding. That's part of our purpose. But we want as many people as possible to get the information that if we just said it's only on the cable channels, that's the only way you can watch it, you'd have less people watching. You have to expand. I know your program goes on the AARP New Hampshire YouTube channel. Which is great. It's a way that you can share. If one more person gets that message about, signs of early signs of Alzheimer's, right? That could, save a life. We just did a video with the the Concord Firefighters Union about CPR and first aid. What happens if someone collapses in a parking lot and you are the first responder? So they did like a chest compressions, resuscitation demonstration. The fact that it's not just on Public Access Channel 22, it's on our YouTube channel. They shared it on their Facebook page. If that saves one life, it's worth it, right? So, so to me, that's super, super important. And our mission boils down to building community through media. And we do that through the variety of services that we provide. The slide that we're showing right now, there's a local musician, guitar player. She actually, in the other corner of our studio, just behind you, Karen, she was playing, and we do provide video coverage of arts and culture and entertainment, in addition to information. So it's the full gambit. If it's related to Concord, if it's something we think Concord residents will find important, it's up our alley, and we'll be there.
That's fascinating.
But we also, I don't think this will be in my presentation later, so I'll mention now, people always ask, well, what's your relationship, Concord TV, with the Concord Monitor, with Concord Patch, with Union Leader, with any of those? We are a completely independent organization, but we don't really compete. Everything that Concord Patch does, we don't really overlap with them. And in fact, we actually collaborate with Concord Patch on like local election coverage. We had a school board candidates forum with Concord Patch where Tony Chanella hosted and emceed it, and we provided the video technical support. Concord Monitor we've also collaborated with, but we don't step on their toes. They have their print media that they do, and we have our video production. So, and we're in regular communication and contact with those organizations. And I would say they're good friends of Concord TV. So Tony from Concord Patch, Steve Leone from Concord Monitor. If there's opportunities for us to collaborate, or at least to just stay on the same page about what we're covering, we're not a news organization. We are a community information and collaborative media space. So we're fortunate to have a good relationship and not overlap. But I did want to just kind of, that can be the elephant in the room sometimes. In terms of our staff and our team, I did want to just sort of shout out, because we don't often shout out our whole team, but so Matt, if you could put up the slide of our whole staff, there they are. And
viewers, this team is fantastic.
Thank you,
I love every one of them.
And I lovingly say, meet the nerds. We're tech geeks, we're film geeks. Matt and Jim especially, they love film and cinema, and they're great with that. So of course, I'm the executive director. We've got Mike O'Mara, who's our programming and IT director. He also works a lot with the city of Concord on city productions. I didn't have enough room to put everything that Mike does. We've got Matt Arsenal, who's our senior staff producer. A lot of studio programs like this, he will provide technical directing support for. And then we have Jim Weber, who is our marketing and administrative assistant. Anything I need help with Jim when it comes to putting out promotional work, he's been working in film, and he used to work in like theater box offices. He knows the industry. You've met Jim before, and he's a great person.
Oh yeah,
he'll even fill in. Just a couple days ago, filled in as an emergency host for someone who couldn't host a program, and because he can be on camera.
Oh, I'm glad to know that.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely, yeah. And Jim will be like, Josh, why are you volunteering me for these things? But it's a versatile team that you can't just wear one hat and say, all I do is I edit videos, or all I do is I record things. Everybody does a little bit of everything. In my role as executive director, I'm outreach, I'm long-term planning, securing grants, production, training, both internal and external training, QuickBooks. I'm the liaison to our board of directors, which we're always looking for more board members, so reach out to me if you're interested. And then I did want to acknowledge our other support staff, which is Emmett Collins, media assistant, Connor Parzik, technical support. Rosemary Marinis works with Matt over the summer for our amazing summer camp program. Steve Cloutier, city meeting producer, and Ali Savage, junior staff producer. And then we just added, I call him Josh 2 because he's another Josh, and he is our school board meeting recorder.
Oh, great.
He's recording a meeting tonight. So he's available on those nights to record the school board meetings. So welcome to Josh if he happens to see this. So amazing staff. I want to make sure that I stick with my script, but I believe the next thing I want to talk about is location. Why are we sometimes confused as a school district department? And it's okay if people say that. It's not. There's no negative, stigma with that. But we're not a school district department, but we rent space at Concord High School. So our physical location is 170 Warren Street, Concord High School. The strength and advantage of that is we get to work with faculty, administration, staff, and there's a lot of really great collaborations that we're able to do because of our location. There's challenges like parking, and we're very, very conscious about security and safety and all of those things too. So that plays a part, but it's a great space for us to be in the community.
Oh, it's marvelous.
And not off in our own little corner, isolated,
Right. And what I love about it is that students know you're here, and students can volunteer to help out, and if they're interested in media and going into that field, the training that's provided is just fabulous.
Yeah, and there's even sort of a lot of our kids who take the summer camp, if they end up coming to Concord High School, we've had students who come in as a freshman to this big intimidating building, but they go, I know Concord TV, and they go, oh, I'm interested in being involved. So we end up with students who were involved for all 4 years of their high school career, which is really great. So that's sort of where the youth programming, we sort of have that continuity, I guess would be the
well, and it gives you the young people a step into what it's like to be on television or doing various things, if they are really interested in that, in the media.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So the studio space itself, I think, Matt, this is the next slide. So there's sort of a panoramic picture of the studio. Most people don't get to see what the studio actually looks like. And Matt, I don't think we have the wide shot of the studio available, so we won't be able to cut to that. But that panorama shows you, it's a little kind of squished, but it's a roughly 25 by 23 square foot studio. Pretty low ceilings for a professional studio, but we're so lucky that the school cooperated with us to let us have the lighting grid, and we not recently, 5 years ago, upgraded to LED lights. Feels like just yesterday, but this is one of the best lit, acoustically best studios. It's a small space, but we're able to utilize every single corner of it.
It's fantastic. I just love it.
And we use it for community members like you who host public access programs. We also offer Concord nonprofits the opportunity to record PSAs and other programming like that. So we try to use this studio space as much as possible, without running Matt into the ground or anything like that. But we have a few shows where some of it's in development still, but where you can actually have a volunteer director. So instead of one of our staff running the show, and there's kind of limitations to how often, you can actually, and this is where some of your audience might be interested, could actually learn how to be a studio director, learn the equipment, and come in and actually be a volunteer director for someone else's program.
So viewers, if you are looking for a encore career, you might want to look this. Might want to tour this group and check it out.
It's a ton of fun. It's great to learn how to use the studio equipment because it sort of unlocks these possibilities of the types of programs you can record.
Sure.
And it's a fun skill just to be like, I know how to do that. You could something, if you were adding to your resume, you could put that on your resume.
Yeah.
When people work with us, we write letters of recommendations or can help them find other opportunities in media. A lot of our interns, myself included, I was an intern at one point at Concord TV. It gives you the hands-on experience regardless of your age, whether you want a second career or a third career
Sure.
or just a hobby. But for a lot of our interns that either stuck here, Matt was an intern as well, or have gone on to work for affiliate stations in Maine, Boston suburbs.
Yeah.
So our alumni have gone on to do other great things in media. So we certainly hope we can keep people in.
Yeah.
Concord TV really actually kept me local. After college, I was kind of open to, could be Boston. I wanted to stay local, but Boston or the
Right.
Seacoast or Portland. And this worked out, and this was a good fit. And it's been 10 years that I've been here because it just, as sort of this media, I say sandbox, sort of it allows you to create opportunities and make the most of it. So, and that clicks for people. That resonates with people who go, you know, they just want to help. They just want
Right.
to learn how to edit or how to run a camera. And then when you get in here, we're a pretty close-knit group, so you become kind of
yeah.
part of the Concord TV family.
Great.
Like you, Karen, you're part of the family.
Just great.
So,
It's just wonderful.
so another space I wanted to show you and show our audience is even smaller than this TV recording space. It's actually for people who want to just record audio, and it's our podcast recording booth. So that space, which Matt has pulled up, is enough room for really 3 people. It's even a tight fit. Those are our summer camp kids. So
Yeah,
with
and I
adults,
was
it's
looking at how young they are and how exciting that is.
Yeah, they're great. And even one of them, Nathaniel, there on the right side, has been coming back and volunteering with us, which is great, and could be a career path for him, it seems like. So that podcast recording booth, we did all of our own soundproofing. We came up with all those foam walls and everything like that. And it's something where community members can, if they don't want their face on camera, but they have a message to put out, and we have a training class where we show them how to set up their podcast, how to start promoting it, how to record it. It's super easy to record a podcast, by the way. I came on with you a couple years ago.
Yes, you did.
Prior to the pandemic, about podcasting,
Right.
and we've learned so much about it. I can't even begin to get into all of it for today's
Sure.
program, but that's something where people, community members, can produce a podcast. What we end up doing is just putting like a visual, like a slide, an image, kind of like what we have in the show here. So we actually play it on public access, but just with a visual slide. So it's still programming for public access, which is something important.
Right.
You know, if you're using our facility,
Right.
that you're sharing it with other people. So, but they don't want their face. So, for instance, Laura Canoy, formerly of NHPR, has a podcast called Read Local New Hampshire, which is all about local independent booksellers and authors. She does it in a very non-commercial way. It's about, let's chat with book authors, and about, she had Michael Herman from Gibson's, and she's had some phenomenal guests, Paul Brogan, she's had, but to be able to have them in a space where there's no cameras rolling,
Right.
but we'll take that audio with the logo saying featuring guests Michael Herman, and that can air on public access as well.
Wow.
Which is, people will watch podcasts on YouTube, believe it or not. So it's you know, even though it's you don't see the people talking like
Right.
this studio program today. But when we pursued podcasting, we wanted to make sure we looked at other types of media and how can we tie that in and be relevant. Because I don't know if Laura would have done a TV studio program.
Yeah.
But a podcast was up her alley. The city of Concord does a monthly podcast called Talk Concord, available on any podcast platform that people use, about what the city has going on, different departments coming in. A lot of those people don't want to be on camera. Understandably, they're just, you know,
Right.
it's bright lights, it's nerve-wracking for people. So they're more likely to get good guests from around the city for this Talk Concord podcast that we're able to still put out there. And that podcast does very well in terms of listeners and subscribers. I listen to it because it sounds, everything we produce in there sounds really good, and it's important information.
Right.
So we only have a couple podcasts, and we're certainly, if other people want to host a podcast, we are, potentially looking to grow that. If someone has a podcast and they're a Concord resident, or they're based on, it's relevant to Concord, we're interested in adding more people for that. Believe it or not, the TV studio is still the most popular format. So I shouldn't be surprised. There was a fear, like, what if no one wants to record a TV show because they could all just podcast? But there's still, like, you don't seem camera shy. You're fine being
No,
out here,
I love it.
right?
I mean, I love the whole experience.
And they're still being able to put a face to a name, and that people, hopefully from this program and from other things, they know who I am. And if they see me around Concord, people definitely at this point now stop me and ask questions and things like that. But you are right, not to get off track, that we are a hidden gem. The problem with us, the problem that we have, and that we're working between both me and our board and as an organization, is we work so hard to show all the important things happening in Concord, the different sectors: school, city, nonprofit sector, health and human services, you name it. But sometimes to take a moment as a media, we're a media organization, but to sit back and say, to promote ourselves and to kind of not be humble for a few seconds and say, we do important work, that we are bridging and building community. And so that's why I'm happy to be a guest on your show. And
I'm thrilled.
And people can expect in 2023 more content of Concord TV explaining and going, this is who we are. And to sort of, I don't want to be a hidden gem.
No,
much,
and we don't need a hidden gem. We need a gem, and that's what you are. That's what you are.
But it is. But we had an intern from Plymouth State College, and when he came in, he went, wow, his eyes lit up. His name's Joe, and he still helps us sometimes. Like on Fridays, he'll come in when he doesn't have classes. But he said hidden gem, and that's why. And I don't take it as an insult, but I do take it as people are amazed when they come in here, when they hear what we do. We do a presentation every year for the Leadership Greater Concord program through the chamber, and they always go, people's eyes light up and they're amazed at what they see, because they go, this is here in Concord, New Hampshire.
I know.
Right? And
I mean, I meet people and they say, well, where is that? I mean, they don't know, and they work here. I mean, I just can't.
Shame on me. Shame on me. But a lot of people also are sort of, they stay in their lane, and they know and they know they have their family, they have work, they have a few hobbies. But a lot of times a lot of other nonprofits have the same issue, where you just want exposure. You just want people to know who you are and what you do and don't do. So I got way off track because there's so much more we do. Matt will have to stop us because we don't want to go over 30 minutes. But a couple other services we provide that we offer is, one of the most important ones is meeting coverage for City of Concord, City Council meetings, zoning board meetings, planning board meetings. And we cover quite a few Concord School Board meetings, the public meetings. There's a lot of committees for the school board. They're getting into budget season. We cover those. We even go on location for like public hearings held at other locations across the city. Those are not the most glamorous. If you're into film, if you're into cinema, that's not necessarily going to be, a thrilling. I've had more than one person tell me it helps them fall asleep at night putting on one of those meetings. But it frustrates me when people sometimes go, I didn't know this thing was happening, or why was this kept a secret, or why wasn't this?
Right.
And we can point them and say, it was talked about, And so I encourage people to, if you want to see what's happening with City of Concord from those meetings, you can go to the City of Concord YouTube page. We are the ones who provide the live streaming services. It's also live on our website and on Channel 17. So that's City Council, Planning Board, Zoning Board. You can watch them live. You can watch them afterwards from the comfort of your own home if you can't go in person. Same thing with the school board meetings, but on the the Concord School District YouTube channel. And again, if people have questions, you can let me know. But it's out there. A lot of these things that people think, well, they snuck that by us, or why didn't they tell us?
Yeah.
They did, but a lot of us, again, are in our zone.
Right.
We're kind of not thinking of peripheral, City Council is Monday night, but I have indoor soccer Monday night, so I'm not going to go to the meeting. But you could watch the meeting after. You could look at the agenda and go, did they talk about that issue that I care about? So we want informed citizens. That's part of something.
Exactly.
And if you can't tell, I get a little passionate and worked up about that because misinformation can happen. That's not based on any political ideology. We're all exposed to misinformation.
Yeah.
We all at some point have probably shared something or told someone something that wasn't true,
Right.
because we just heard it from someone else. So the way I like to put it is we have a lot of the primary footage, or the primary, it's not a 5-minute story about the meeting. It's the whole meeting. If that meeting goes 4 hours, there's a 4-hour video. But you'll know exactly what was said, who said it, and that I just want people to know, even though it's not always the most glamorous, to just take a scan of the agendas of these meetings, and if there's an issue, watch what happened in the meeting, right?
Exactly.
And that just makes us all more informed. And I just hate when I have to correct people and say, well, that's not quite what happened, or that's
Right.
And unfortunately, again, like I said, it's not any political leaning. Like that misinformation, we all just usually accidentally will spread information that wasn't true. So
Right.
watch the meetings because they're out there.
Okay, and so viewers, get in touch with Josh with any questions you might have, or if you're interested in coming to the studio and finding out what a wonderful, wonderful asset this is to your community. And Josh, thank you so much for being my
Thanks,
guest.
Karen. This was
And
a lot of fun.
until the next time, be good, do good, be one.